Now it's time for a bit of debate with the audience, I think, and it'll start with one-on-one, but you can all join in, you really, really can. Yes, it's the Barrage the Farage part of this, where I don't know what you're going to ask, but I'm going to ask Sasha to ask me a question. Good evening.
Cheers, Nigel.
Cheers.
Demand for housing in Brixham and Torbay is insane. Local people and some Brixham councillors are opposed to development outside of our agreed neighbourhood development plan. Are we fighting a losing battle with big business and government? Will local needs be ignored in favour of second homes, government housing quotas and Airbnb?
Yeah, there's a lot of factors there. The biggest factor with housing, which nobody else ever talks about because it's all too difficult, too awkward, is that our population has exploded since the year 2000. Our population is up by about 8 million people since 2000, and there is one very major reason for that. But of course we're not allowed to talk about it because, goodness gracious me, that would be dreadful, wouldn't it? You know, mass immigration into the country of generally very young people who've had quite a lot of children accounts for nearly 90% of the population rise. We need to build a new dwelling every 4 minutes in Britain. Every 4 minutes, just to deal with current levels of migration. So, look, the fact is we're going to have to accept more houses all over the country, right, for that reason. However, the Southwest's problem is rather more acute, and that is that the wealth gap between London and the rest of the country has just got bigger and bigger and bigger. You know, ever since quantitative easing, all the things government have done, people with assets since 2008 have made money on levels that, I mean, it's almost difficult to believe. So for them to come and buy a fisherman's cottage in Brixham or Padstow or wherever it is, I mean, it's pocket money. It's pocket money to them. So for local people, it's made it impossible. And it's a real problem to deal with because some of these, and Brixham's not yet, thank goodness, but some of these southwest villages literally become ghost towns in winter when the people from Chelsea or Islington or whatever it is aren't here for their holidays and nobody from Airbnb. I was in Mevagissey last weekend, not too far down the coast from here, and they've got a new policy where the new builds that are taking place in the town, the first offer is to people who are local with a record of living locally and paying council tax. And I do think, unless we're going to live in a society where the rich are able, through their own free choice, to literally destroy communities, local government, and this is not about Parliament, this is about local government, needs to make sure all new builds have a priority for local people at prices that are reasonable. And I believe in that very, very strongly indeed. I really do.
The problem is, when they build these houses, they're so expensive that local people can't actually afford them. They say that they're going to put in all this infrastructure, but they're putting housing on places that have been green, that have been holiday camps.
I know.
And they're saying they want to be green.
Sasha, I know. The irony, well, we had it with trade deals a moment ago, we have it with housing. There can be two housing markets. There can be a housing market where the price is just for locals and a housing market for outsiders. It is possible to have two housing markets.
They do it in the Netherlands.
It can be done. Sasha, thank you very much indeed. Let's move on to Will with the second question.
Hi there, Nigel.
Will, hello.
So, my question to you is, if you were Home Secretary, what would you what would you do about the migrant crisis?
End it. Firstly, by leaving the European Convention on Human Rights. We didn't complete Brexit fully. We're still subject to the judgments of a court in Strasbourg. And because we're signed up to that, activist lawyers stop virtually every deportation, even people who've committed rape and murder that we try to deport, and they get them to the airport at Heathrow, and activist lawyers, are there in the High Court in London. We can't be part of the ECHR. We don't need lessons from Europe about fair play and justice. We've had it since Magna Carta. We've done it rather better than they've done. As far as the Channel's concerned, and I've been pushing this story since March 2020. I've been out repeatedly in the English Channel, making videos, posting on YouTube, elsewhere. GBNews last week was the only news channel covering what was going on in the English Channel and predicting the numbers. The Australians turned the boats round and sent people back to Indonesia. Unless we do that, this will not end. And I sense that across the whole of the country, this is now becoming one of the biggest issues in British politics. We are a fair and decent people. We've always given refugee status to those in genuine trouble. What we cannot abide are vast numbers of undocumented young males arriving on the shingle in Kent and being given, talk about housing, you know, 4-star hotels and all the rest of it. Not only is it costing all of you as taxpayers too much money, it poses, and Liverpool shows us this, a major security threat to our country, and they better deal with it. PDQ.
Hear, hear.
One more. I would love to do this for hours, but I've only got time for one more in this segment. Eileen's got a question for me.
Hello, Nigel.
Hello.
Nigel, if you could go back in time, would you change anything that you have done or regretted?
Well, there's one or two private things I might have regretted, Eileen, but I'm not going to share those with you. Do you know... Well, there's nobody else here can't say the same, is there? So, do you know, I made a big decision. In the late 1990s, I made a very big decision that was completely life-changing and very much to my own detriment. In many, many ways, I just felt the whole political system in Britain had gone rotten. They weren't seeing the wood for the trees. That we'd lost something precious. We'd lost our independence, our ability, through those we vote for, through that exercise at elections, to be the masters of our own destiny. And I took the view, Eileen, that our forebears, and we've just remembered them, haven't we, on Remembrance Sunday, that our forebears had given so much so that we and the rest of Europe could be free, that I was damned if I was just going to stand aside and let a bunch of gutless career politicians give all that away to this emerging superstate in Brussels that I believe wasn't just bad for us, but bad for the rest of Europe too. Were there things I did, said, along that journey that I might have done better? Of course there were, as there are with all of our lives. But do I regret? Actually, I think being the person that got this debate moving and going against a massive tide against me of all the political parties, all the trade unions, all the big businesses, all the newspapers, all the broadcasters. And it was a blooming hard uphill slog for all those years. Do I regret doing that? Do I? Hell.
Welcome to the GB News YouTube channel. You can watch us live 24 hours a day, catch up on your favourite shows, and join in the conversation in the comments below.
Don't forget to subscribe and you'll never miss any of our exclusive content.